Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday. Happy Freaky Friday to all you freaks out there. Hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money, and there's no better day to go ahead and make some money than Freaky Friday. That's right, guys. It's our first Freaky Friday, Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay since we have returned from our Greek vacation, and I'm feeling very confident with today's parlay. And if you guys have watched my videos before, you know that every single Freaky Friday, whether it be in the NFL, the NBA, MLB, I do every Friday a Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay giveaway contest. It's a bit of a mouthful. But on Freaky Friday, I guess it's kind of fitting. That was embarrassing. If you guys can't tell by now, I am corny as hell. But anyways, all that aside, every Friday we do a Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay giveaway. All you have to do, the rules are very simple. Comment Freaky down below in the comment section. That's it. Just comment Freaky down below. And if this parlay hits, I will pick one lucky commenter who does comment Freaky down below to win a free $25 Amazon gift card. It's that easy. It's that simple. Just comment 5 letters, F-R-E-A-K-Y, 6 letters. Sorry, gotta go back to grade school. Six letters, Freaky down below. And if the parlay hits, one lucky commenter will win a free $25 Amazon gift card. So go ahead and comment Freaky down below if you haven't already. But yeah, I'm really excited for today's parlay. It's a 5-leg parlay. We're using DraftKings for today's parlay. The odds are plus 633. That's kind of the point of Freaky Friday. We go big game hunting. So plus 633, 5-leg parlay. Don't worry, I will post the final play, the final parlay, in the description down below. All of my final plays are posted in the description down below for each and every video. Now, very quickly before we dive into today's parlay, a quick little recap of how we did yesterday. And overall, guys, jumping over to GuyBostonSports.com to recap yesterday's plays. Overall, it wasn't a great day, but it wasn't a bad day either. We went 2-2 yesterday. We had a couple nice hits. Jose Altuve and Zach Nader, they both covered for us. Unfortunately, Javi Baez did not strike out. He went 1 for 3 in that game, and then they pulled him for his last at-bat, which was so frustrating, but it is what it is. And then Yusei Kikuchi was looking pretty good until the 5th inning where he gave up 2 home runs and cashed the over. He ended up giving 3 earned runs in that game. So 2-2 yesterday, a slight loss. I think it was like 0.15 units we lost because of the way we displaced the units. But at the end of the day, it was not a terrible day, but we can definitely do better. And with a plus 633 parlay coming at you right now, it's the best chance to go ahead and recoup some of these units we've lost. So let's dive right into today's Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, jumping right into the outlier screen. I want to let you guys know there is a theme for today's parlay. All 5 player props are pitcher strikeout props. I like that idea. Maybe we do that for Freaky Friday moving forward. Every Friday we pick a new theme. If you guys even want to comment down below what you think that theme should be. Maybe we'll do that like on a Thursday video where we tease for tomorrow, the following day's Freaky Friday, what the theme should be, whether it be pitcher outs, strikeouts, hits, home runs, whatever. We can get crazy with it. But the theme for today's parlay is pitcher strikeouts. So the first leg of our 5-leg parlay, we're looking at the Phillies-Yankees game, 7:05 p.m. first pitch. We're going Will Warren of the New York Yankees over 4.5 strikeouts. Now, I'm not going to go into the odds in the sportsbook because you know we're using DraftKings, like I mentioned at the top of the video 20 minutes ago. We're doing DraftKings. I won't really go through the odds because they're all alternate lines. It doesn't really matter. But it is, I guess I can show you, minus 170 over on DraftKings. And look, guys, with all of these legs being alternate lines, I didn't go too crazy with the alternate lines, but they are all alternate lines, so over minus 150. The data is going to be pretty solid. Now, the last 10 game, it's okay. 5 of the last 10, not bad. Averaging 5 strikeouts per game over the last 10 games, which obviously is good for us considering the line is 4.5. If we do go ahead and stretch the data out the entire season view, it looks a lot better. 67% hit rate on the season, 14 out of 21 games. He's cashed the over. He's averaging 5.57 strikeouts per game this season. So pretty good numbers there for Will Warren. And as you can see here, a lot of really big performances. You see here a couple 10 strikeout game, 11 strikeouts. He's had some pretty big performances in the strikeout category this season. And we do have a bit of head-to-head data to go off of now. To be fair, this is from last year, July 30th of last season against the Phillies, but he did have 6 strikeouts the last time these two teams played. back on July 30th in 5.25 innings. So pretty good numbers there for Will Warren. We also have the insights provided by Outlier. Will Warren has exceeded 5.5 strikeouts in 7 of his last 9 games at home. He's averaging 6.6 strikeouts per game at home across those last 9 home games. The 78% hit rate, averaging 6.56 strikeouts per game across those last 9 home games. And again, we mentioned some of those bigger games that he's had this year happened at home. 10 strikeouts versus the Rangers, 11 strikeouts versus the Angels. Now, jumping on over to the dashboard over on GuyBostonSports.com, we look at the Phillies' numbers over the last 30 days. So we're kind of narrowing the data down to the last month. And you see the Phillies over the last 30 days, strikeout percentage overall, 16th in Major League Baseball, 22.4%. Literally about middle of the road. Not bad. Versus right-handed pitchers like Will Warren, 21.3%. That's literally dead even middle, 15th in Major League Baseball. Not the greatest matchup of all time. Now, where I really do like the matchup, though, number one, we obviously showed they do the data. Will Warren been cashing the over pretty consistently all year. But looking down below Will Warren, he's got a 26.7% strikeout rate this year. That's obviously very, very good. At home, that increases to 27.5%. Again, very, very good. In this key data point right here, he has a 33.5% strikeout rate versus right-handed hitters this year. Well, guess what the Phillies have a lot of in their lineup? Right-handed hitters. In the projected lineup for today's game, 6 of their 9 hitters are right-handed. Just saying. Now, of course, this isn't final. They could make some switches, but the majority of their team, of their better hitters, are right-handed hitters, minus Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper. Look, guys, the moral of the story being a lot of right-handed hitters in that Phillies lineup. He obviously has a very high strikeout rate versus right-handed hitters. Very high strikeout rate in general. And even some of those bigger hitters like Bryce Harper, like Kyle Schwarber, those power hitters typically do strike out more often than not because they're obviously swinging for the fences. Doesn't always pan out. Although Will Warren has the highest strikeout percentage of pretty much any player in this parlay today, he's actually the riskiest leg because of the matchup, but I still like him at home where he's been very dominant. Against the Phillies lineup that doesn't strike out a ton, but they do strike out. Again, middle of the road. That doesn't mean they're a great strikeout prop to bet against, but they're also not a bad one to bet against. So I'm going to take my chances here with Will Warren. By the way, guys, this is the other line. We have him at 4.5, so 67% hit rate. Not to scare anybody there. But yeah, Will Warren at home against the Phillies lineup that strikeouts a decent amount. I'm going to go and take the chance here. All he needs is 5 strikeouts to go ahead and cash this over. All right, guys, our second leg of our 5-leg parlay. The data is a lot better on this one. We have Blue Jays, Tigers, 7:10 p.m. first pitch. We got Jose Barrios of the Toronto Blue Jays over 3.5 strikeouts. Now, this one's a little bit more juiced, minus 245, so a little bit higher of an alternate line here, but for good reason. 7 of his last 10 starts, he's cashed the over, averaging 4.6 strikeouts per game over the last 10 starts. We do look at the entire 2025 season data. It's still very solid. A 71% hit rate on the season, 15 out of 21 starts. He's cashed the over, and he's averaging 4.86 strikeouts per game this year. And kind of similar to the Will Warren prop, right? A lot of big strikeout games. 8 here, 8, 9, 9, 8. So that's a pretty big strikeout performances. Pretty good numbers here for Jose Barrios. And again, we only need him to get 4 strikeouts here. He's averaging 4.86. So if he just gets his average, we'll be good to go. And this is nothing new for Jose Barrios. Even if you look at last year's data, now obviously outdated a year ago, but in 2024, he cashed at a 75% hit rate. So he has been very comfortable with this line of 4 strikeouts throughout the last 2 years. Now, if you look at the head-to-head data here, it's even better. Each of his last 2 starts versus the Tigers, he's cashed the over. He's played them 1 time this year, back on May 18th. He had 4 strikeouts, so a narrow cash, but a cash nonetheless. And the previous meeting back on May 25th of last year, he had 5 strikeouts. He's averaging 4.5 strikeouts per game against the Tigers across his last 2 starts. Now, if we go ahead and jump over the dashboard over on Guy Boston Sports, you'll see Jose Barrios' numbers not nearly anywhere as high as Will Warren's strikeout percentages were, but still not bad. 20.4% overall this year. On the road, it gets a little dicier, but versus left-handed hitters, 22.4% strikeout rate, 17.9 versus right-handed hitters. Like I said, not nearly as good as what like Will Warren's numbers were, but still not terrible. The key thing to know here, and one of the reasons why I like the matchup spot a lot, is this is a Tigers team that strikeouts a ton over the last month. You see strikeout percentage overall, 25th, 23.7%, versus right-handed pitchers, 27th. That's bottom 4 Major League Baseball, 24.4% strikeout rate over the last month versus right-handed pitchers. Now, this data point, I don't like to use too much because it's a very specific data point, which means it's going to have a much smaller sample size, but over the last month, the Tigers versus right-handed pitchers when they're playing at home in Detroit, 3rd worst number in Major League Baseball, 25.1% strikeout rate Again, we don't have the numbers there in turn to figure out how many games does it actually like make up, how big is the sample size. But I guess it's still worth mentioning. But the moral of the story being here, this is a Tigers team that strikeouts a ton, whether they're versus left-handed pitchers, right-handed pitchers, they strike out a ton. And so with that, mixed with the fact that Jose Berrios, again, he's been cashing this line at a 71% hit rate this year. He only needs 4 strikeouts. Going up against a team that strikeouts 25% of the time just about, I think it's a really solid player prop here. It's minus 245 for a reason. That's our second leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, cruising right along here. This player prop in particular, I very, very much love. Our third leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're moving on to the Atlanta Braves Texas Rangers game, 8:05 p.m. first pitch. We got former Boston Red Sox, a guy I wish they didn't let go, Nathan Eovaldi of the Rangers, over 4.5 strikeouts. We're grabbing it for minus 215. Again, over on DraftKings, and the data is phenomenal. Again, for minus 215, it should be. But 8 of his last 10 starts, he's cashed the over, averaging 5.6 strikeouts per game over his last 10. If we do look at the entire 2025 season in totality, he's had 16 starts this year for the Rangers. He's cashed the over in 12 of those 16 starts. That's, of course, a 75% hit rate, averaging 5.88 strikeouts per game this season. Those are some really good numbers. You look at some of the misses here. Toronto, they strike out the fewest among any team in Major League Baseball, especially over the last month or so. So that's pretty impressive. Chicago doesn't strike out a ton. The Mariners are okay. Actually, twice this year, he has failed to cash the over versus the Mariners. Thankfully for us, he's not pitching against Seattle tonight. He's pitching against Atlanta. But yeah, pretty good numbers across the board here. 75% hit rate, decent sample size too. He's averaging 5.88 strikeouts per game. We just need him to get 5 strikeouts to go ahead and cash this over. And if we look at the head-to-head data, again, a little outdated because it does come from last season. But the last time he played the Braves on 420, let's just say, again, I'm a corny guy, Nathan Eovaldi was blazing. See what I did there? Blazing on 420. Sometimes I hate myself. Just a little bit. This is the reason why I was never a comedian. I'm basically dad joke central over here. But again, 6 strikeouts the last time he played the Braves back on April 20th of 2024. So it's a little bit outdated. It's from last year. But the last time he played this team, he did have a very solid performance with 6 strikeouts in that game. And again, the data overall this year has been very, very encouraging. The insight doesn't really apply to us because we have the line at 4.5, not 5.5. So the data is still very good. Again, he's cashed in 3 straight games. He's coming off a very good start where he had 8 strikeouts against the Astros his last time out on July 13th. And referring to the dashboard over on Guy Boston Sports, I told you guys when I started talking about this player prop that I love this player prop. And look at Nathan Eovaldi's data here. Legit green bean across the board here. He's having a phenomenal season. But look at the strikeout numbers. 27% overall this year, 29.2 at home, 26.5 versus left-handed hitters, 27.5 versus right-handed hitters. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what way you swing the bat. No one is safe from Nathan Eovaldi this year. He's having a phenomenal season with the Rangers. And to make things even sweeter for us, look at the Braves strikeout numbers over the last 30 days. Overall, 24.2% strikeout rate. That is bottom 4 in Major League Baseball over the last month in totality. If we narrow it a little further versus right-handed pitchers, they are 26, so slightly better, but literally the same number, 24.2%. But rank-wise, they are 1 tier above at 26. And then again, I don't like to go into these numbers too much, but versus right-handed pitchers on the road over the last month, 23rd in Major League Baseball, 24.4%. So yeah, phenomenal data, phenomenal player prop, a really solid leg, my favorite leg of this 5-leg parlay in today's video. All right, guys, and our final 2 legs from this Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay are actually going to come from this Athletics-Astros game, 8:10 p.m. first pitch. Our 4th leg of our 5-leg parlay, we're going Ryan Gusto of the Houston Astros over 3.5 strikeouts. This is a very juiced line, minus 230. I don't know if it's not the most juiced line. I believe we had one earlier that was minus 245. Yeah, Jose Berrios was minus 245. That was higher than this one, but still minus 230. A lot of juice on this line, but it's still valuable, especially when putting into a 5-leg parlay like we are doing. Looking at the data here, Ryan Gusto, 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over. He's averaging 5 strikeouts per game over his last 10 games. If we do go ahead and stretch the data out the entire season view, he's only played 12 games this year, but he has cashed the over at 8 of those 12 games. That's a 67% hit rate on the season. He's averaging 4.83 strikeouts per game this year. So some really good numbers there for Ryan Gusto. Again, we just need 4 strikeouts for him to cash the over. He's averaging just shy of 5 strikeouts per game. So just do what you do on average, and we'll be good to go here. From a head-to-head perspective, he has played the A's once this year, over a month ago, back on June 16th, and he had 8 strikeouts in that game. So he blew through this line, and he only pitched 5 innings in that game. 20 batters faced. He struck out 8, and that's a 40% hit rate there. So really good numbers here the last time he played them. Again, literally he could cut that line in half, and he still cashes the over. So I really like that head-to-head data there. Very encouraging. If we jump back over the dashboard over on Guy Boston Sports, Ryan Gusto, his numbers actually aren't that great from an overall perspective. His ERA is a little on the high side. His whip's a little on the high side. Again, not having a great year. Batting average, a little on the high side. But the one area he's been very consistent in is the strikeout rate. 22.8% strikeout rate on the season. That increases to 24.3% when he's pitching at home in Houston, and versus left-handed hitters and versus right-handed hitters, both over 22%. So really good numbers in the strikeout department. There is a little cause for concern when it comes to the hitting numbers, because obviously if he gets shelled in this start, he gets pulled early, and then we get a lesser chance of cashing that strikeout player prop. Now the good news is he's playing the Athletics, and the Athletics, let's just say over the last month, have not been the best offensive team. Overall, bottom 3 in terms of hitting over the last month, so I'm not too concerned about him getting destroyed in the start, although the A's do have some solid hitters. But the key thing here is this is the worst team in Major League Baseball in terms of strikeout percentage, which obviously is very good for us when betting a strikeout player prop. Dead last over the last month, 26.6% strikeout rate. Not too different when they face off with right-handed pitchers, 26.7, actually slightly worse. That's the second worst mark in Major League Baseball. And again, take this with a grain of salt. But over the last month, versus right-handed pitchers when playing on the road, they are bottom 3 with a 27.6% strikeout rate. So, Ryan Gusto obviously cashing at a very high rate this year, averaging just shy of 5 strikeouts per game this season. He already crushed them once this year with 8 strikeouts. We just need 4. This team strikeouts a ton. I don't see why he shouldn't go ahead and cash this over. So that's our 4th leg of our 5-leg parlay. And wrapping things up, guys, our 5th and final leg of today's parlay, I figured we have to go ahead and throw at least one under in here. So sticking with this same Athletics-Astros game, again, 8:10 p.m. first pitch, we're going Jeffrey Springs of the A's under 5.5 strikeouts. And this is minus 160, so actually not that high, just shy of being a straight bet worthy bet. I typically minus 150 is the cap for betting straight bets, or single bets, if you will. But the data is very solid. For being minus 160, there's phenomenal numbers here for Jeffrey Springs. 8 of his last 10 starts, he's cashed the under, averaging just 3.9 strikeouts per game over the last 10 games. The only 2 overs, barely cashed. He had 6 strikeouts versus the Guardians back on June 20th. And then on May 24th, 6 strikeouts versus the Phillies. Obviously, we have a player pitching against them, Will Warren. So that's obviously encouraging for us. But yeah, across the board, you see a lot of unders cashed here for Jeffrey Springs. Look at the overall season data. He's pitched 19 games this year. He's cashed the under in 16 of 19 starts. That's an 84% hit rate. He's averaging just 3.95 strikeouts per game this season. Again, versus the Mariners, very high mark, 9 strikeouts, and then those other 2 games that I had previously mentioned. Now, we have no head-to-head data to go off of here this year, or actually in general for Jeffrey Springs against the Astros. But obviously you see a lot of green here, which obviously is very encouraging. Even if you narrow it down, he's cashed the under in 5 consecutive starts coming into this game, averaging, again, just 3.6 strikeouts per game over the last 5. So as far as under bets go, you're not going to find much better than this. And obviously it's an alternate line, so it's a slightly elevated line. Very slightly elevated, but pretty good numbers here. And if you look down below, you see it's a very good matchup. Actually, we'll jump over the dashboard again to kind of give you guys a better look at this. And yeah, looking at Jeffrey Springs, his numbers, he's actually better in a lot of categories than Ryan Gusto is. I mean, his ERA is lower, batting average allowed lower. He's actually having an okay year. Now, I'm not going to call it good because you do see a lot of yellow, a lot of orange, a lot of red, a lot of Thanksgiving colors here. But, he's actually better in a couple key places than Ryan Gusto. However, the one area he's definitely not as good is the strikeout percentage. You see overall this year, 18.8%, a little on the lower side. On the road, gets slightly higher at 19%, but still under 20% in all of those categories for strikeout rate, which obviously is good when betting an under bet. And then looking at the matchup, this is an Astros team that obviously one of the better hitting teams in Major League Baseball over the last 30 days. Their strikeout rate also on the lower side. It's not great. It's not the best matchup of all time, but they are 12th in strikeout rate over the last month, 21.4%, still in the top half of the league. When you narrow that down versus left-handed pitchers, they're actually top 10. Ninth best mark, 21.1% strikeout rate over the last month against left-handed pitchers. Now, this data point is a little alarming, but again, like I've mentioned with all of those sort of last 30 days, very, very specific data points, take it with a grain of salt. Over the last 30 days, when the Astros have faced off with a left-handed pitcher at home, second worst mark in Major League Baseball, 32.6% strikeout rate. So that's very high. Could be a cause for concern. But again, like I've mentioned at least 5 times in this video already, it's a very specific data point. That could literally be like 2 games. So you don't really know what you're going off of. We don't have that number in front of us to show what has it actually been, how many games, because that's very specific. How many times have the Astros, A, played at home, but B, played at home versus left-handed pitcher? It's not going to be that big of a sample size, so take that with a grain of salt, but overall, the numbers look pretty solid here. It looks to be a very solid matchup for Jeffrey Springs, and again, he's cashing the under at, let's go back to that number, in 2025, 84% hit rate. He's averaging just under 4 strikeouts per game. He could literally get 5 strikeouts, which is above average for him. We still cash the under. So I still like the player prop here, and for minus 160, there's definitely some value there on this Jeffrey Springs under. So it's our final leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, this sometimes does happen in the world of sports betting. I'm happy it happened while I was still recording. The Jeffrey Springs prop, the one I literally just spent 4 minutes talking about, just got deleted off of DraftKings. So this happens, obviously, if people have found it, people are hammering that line, they might alter it. The sportsbook might take it off the sportsbook. Obviously, I'm not the only one who found that Jeffrey Springs line. It's no longer available. Now, if you can still get it at some point, because it could come back up later in the day, if you can grab it, grab it. It's a good line. But unfortunately, right now on DraftKings, you cannot find anywhere that Jeffrey Springs 5.5 under. So, just to give you guys an alternate, in case you guys can't find it, we have Ryan Nelson here in the Diamondbacks-Pirates game, 6:40 p.m. first pitch, over 3.5 strikeouts. This is another player prop that I was originally going to put in the parlay. I ended up cutting it to make room for the Jeffrey Springs prop. So now this is kind of my reserve player prop in the event something like this happens. So we always have backup plans here. Very prepared. So Ryan Nelson over 3.5 strikeouts, minus 215 over on DraftKings. A little bit of a higher line, so it's obviously going to affect the odds of the parlay a little bit. But the data is pretty solid. 6 of his last 10 starts, he's cashed the over, averaging 4 strikeouts per game. We look at the overall 2025 data. He's only played 11 games, but 55% hit rate, averaging 3.82 strikeouts per game. Had a little bit of a slow start to the year, but over the last 5 games, you see 5 of his last 6, he's cashed the over. So he's definitely gotten better of late. Had a little bit of a rough start to the year. But we look at the head-to-head data here. Each of his last 2 starts versus the Pirates, which includes 1 start this year, he has cashed the over. He had 4 strikeouts back on May 26th. Against the Pirates. And really, this is all about the fact that Pittsburgh has a very high strikeout rate, especially versus right-handed pitchers. Overall this year, 25th in Major League Baseball, 22.8% strikeout rate. Over the last 30 days, also 25th in Major League Baseball with a 24.1% strikeout rate. So pretty good matchup here for Ryan Nelson. He just needs 4 strikeouts. So again, basically, I'm just going to go off of whatever you can find. Now, in terms of what I'm going to put on my official card, I unfortunately am not going to be able to put the Jeffrey Springs one because I don't want to play around with that. I want to be official here. I don't want to say tomorrow, oh, by the way, guys, Ryan Nelson didn't cash, but I said Jeffrey Springs, so the parlay hit. No. Officially, we're going to put Ryan Nelson in place of Jeffrey Springs, but I am telling you guys, if you can get the Jeffrey Springs player prop, go ahead and put that in there. Maybe make it a 6-leg parlay because it's a very good player prop, as I talked about. All right, guys, so the odds did get changed, unfortunately, by a pretty decent margin, but it is what it is. You got to roll with the punches in this business. So we got Nathan Eovaldi over 4.5 strikeouts, Ryan Gusto over 3.5 strikeouts, Jose Barrios over 3.5 strikeouts, Will Warren over 4.5 strikeouts, and Ryan Nelson over 3.5 strikeouts. You parlay all 5 together, you get a parlay of plus 593 over on DraftKings. Again, in a perfect world, we'd have Jeffrey Springs in there. It'd be plus 633. Unfortunately, DraftKings, they saw us coming. They knew we were coming for them. They pulled the player prop off of their sportsbook. So it is what it is. Still pretty good value though. Plus 593. We'll absolutely go ahead and take that. But yeah, guys, apologies for that. But that is it for today's video. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We're back tomorrow with another MLB player prop video. But until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Make sure to go ahead and comment Freaky down below to be entered in the Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay giveaway. Until next time, guys, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Freaky Friday. Have some freaky fun. And let's go ahead and make some money.